conference with legal counsel, anticipating litigation. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead and open up the first program that we have on the agenda, and that is the actual agency, excuse me. Before I go there, I just, Deputy City Clerk, do we have, I am opening up the public communication. Do we have anyone that is wishing to speak?
We did not receive any for the 5 o'clock.
Okay, all right. So at this point, the Deputy City Clerk, Lulu, has indicated that we did not receive any letters or anyone wishing to speak on public communication for the session. All right, thank you very much, Deputy City Clerk. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead and go into Mr. Shannon Yatsi. We'll go ahead and.
Thank you, Mayor. And we have a presentation tonight on the CIP budget. Everything here is special funds. We've reduced the budget a little bit, but we've also gone ahead with some projects to improve the infrastructure throughout the city. A lot of it is public works. We've got some parks projects and some PD. So Public Works Director Sam Gutierrez is going to take the lead, and Manny Carrillo and Chris Hofford will also be here if there's questions on their projects.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. So at this point, we'll go over to Mr. Gutierrez. Good evening, Mr. Gutierrez. Do we have Manario? Mark, do we know we have Mr. Gutierrez online?
How about now? Can you hear me now? Sorry, I had my microphone off.
That's fine, buddy. Okay, go for it.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I have a short presentation on this year's the 5-year capital improvement program. So this is the capital improvement program budget for fiscal years 2020 through 2025. So just to give you a short summary, the proposed budget for the 5-year capital improvement program commences July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025, and that budget is just about $20 million. This includes carryover projects from prior year CIP projects that are already in progress. The current fiscal year 2021 budget for the capital improvement program is just slightly over $18 million. I've attached a couple of pictures here to highlight some of the projects that were completed in 1920. The park signs at the teen center is up and operational. I've also had Main Avenue Complete Streets Phase 2. Both Phase 1A and 1B of that project are now complete. Also, the CNG station at Ramon and Badillo, that is nearing completion, so it should be operational soon. But it was a 1920 project, and here's the marquee at Morgan Park, which we're very proud of. And also, I wanted to show and highlight what we've done in terms of remodeling the second floor at City Hall. So these are projects that were completed. None of these are being carried over. So just to compare fiscal year 1920 to the current, to the new year, to 2021, I broke this down by department. And as you can see, Public Works does have the largest share of the budget in the CIP. In 1920, that was followed by Recreation and Police. Administration had a few projects. All of their projects are complete. Community development, and I'll go into more detail on the projects a little bit, but community development had one project, and that project is being carried over. But I wanted to highlight that about $11 million are being moved over in terms of the CIP carried over to this year from 1920 to 2021. So out of the entire budget for this year, $11 million is projects and funds carried over. So not many new projects this year. I do want to highlight that last year we did have some general fund that was tied to the second floor remodel project, but that project is not complete. So this year we have no general fund being used in the CIP. So here is just sort of kind of like a spreadsheet. This was provided in the packets, but administration, as I said, they've completed all the projects and they didn't add any projects for this year. There is a project there that is shown for low mod housing. There was a server that was supposed to be installed there, but that's been completed, so it'll come off. As I mentioned earlier, community development did have one project. This is the permitting software system for upgrading our permitting system to an all-new electronic tracking system. And that project is being carried over, and we are adding some funds to it this year, but it will be completed in this current year. So here's the police department. This is the list of their projects. And as you can see, they've completed some of the projects. The radio system, that's been completed. I think there's only the public works portion there for our radios left to be done. I do want to highlight in PD, I want to highlight their new projects. Hopefully that's easier to see. So these are the new projects that they're adding to this year. Body and vehicle cameras, 100,000. So that's currently shown here to be funded by their development impact fees, and Chris Hoffert can speak to this more, but I think at the time when we move forward with the project, they're going to be using AB 74 funds there. So also they're going to be replacing the battery backup unit. They're using development impact fees for that. And they're using the AB 74 money to get new software for the use of force tracking and early warning detection software. And finally, they're going to be leasing 5 new police vehicles, and that's going to be used in federal asset forfeiture funds. Moving on to public works. So we have a lot of projects. As I mentioned earlier, we have the lion's share of projects and funding in this CIP, but there's a lot of projects, but this slide shows all of the projects on this slide are projects that are being carried over. But I do want to draw your attention to 2 projects. So the downtown improvement projects, that was under design last year, but now it's out to bid, and the bid will open on Monday. So we're looking forward to that bid opening and seeing what we get in terms of contractors. But I wanted to highlight here that we're adding the construction funds to that project. So here you can see we're adding some construction funds to that, and that'll come back to the council when it's ready to be awarded. Also, I do want to talk about the Metro Link Quiet Zones project. That project is moving along. The first crossing that's going to be improved is the Pacific Avenue crossing here by City Hall and the Metro Link station. That project will be moving forward this year, and we're hoping to start somewhere in January. Moving on. So here's more projects. On this slide, I do want to highlight 2 projects as well here. The first mile, last mile project. That project is tied to the downtown improvement project. So this is the first project that I mentioned before, the downtown improvements. That's for all the upgrading of the crosswalks, traffic signals, and street lights. The first mile, last mile brings to the same project, brings to the beautification. It brings the benches, sidewalk improvements, and safety improvements to the transit station. So we're very excited about that project. Also, Morgan Park, that project has gone out to bid and has been awarded, and construction will be starting in August. Moving on, more projects. On this project, I just want to highlight that in terms of new projects that are not being carried over, or projects from last year that we're adding funds to, we have 2 new projects that we're adding to this fiscal year. So the first project is the drainage improvements at Foster Avenue. This is a crossing. This is a pedestrian-only crossing. This project, the improvements to the crossing, is part of the quiet zone project. However, there are some drainage improvements, and we've received a lot of complaints over the years that it floods at that cul-de-sac on Foster. So this is to improve that drainage situation, but also it is required as part of the quiet zone. So we're using some quiet zone funding, the proceeds, the Measure M bond proceeds to complete that project. Now, I mentioned earlier that we've completed the north portion of Main Avenue, complete streets. We did that in 2 phases. We did skip the intersection at Olive and Main. And that was because at one time we were contemplating putting a roundabout there. But, you know, after talking to the community and council direction, we eliminated the roundabout, and now we're going to be improving that signal. So we're looking at starting design for that. So we may look at some decorative street traffic signals or traditional traffic signals. We don't know yet, but so that we can complete the entire stretch of Main Avenue on that end. Moving on, community recreation and community services. Most of their projects, as you can see on this slide, are being carried over. I do want to draw your attention to one project on this slide. This is the community center meeting room, meeting room 1 and meeting room 2. This is partition replacement. This is a carryover project. It had $65,000 funded last year, but this year we are adding $225,000 to complete that project. So here I just want to highlight the new projects that were added to the CIP this year. The first project is a replacement of the gym sound panels and wall carpet. That's $225,000. Second project replaces game room area sound panels. And then they're also doing a urethane top coat at Morgan Park for the rubberized playgrounds. All of these projects are going to be funded by Quimby. So that's pretty much a summary of all of our projects. We would like to thank all of the department heads and their staff, the finance staff and their interns. They put a lot of hard work into it, and the preparation of this budget reflects that work, their dedication and commitment. Also, we want to thank the Honorable Mayor and the members of the City Council for their continued support and direction of the city's capital improvement program. With that, I end my presentation. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. Also, if you have a question pertaining to a particular project from one of the other departments, they are available to answer your questions.
Right.
Thank you.
Sam, this is Manny. Sam, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Section 254, Measure R, money that's going to be allocated on Main, I believe, on Main Street.
On Main Street?
Yeah,
Sure.
which is, you indicated that's part of the quiet zone fund, Measure R. Am I correct?
I'm sorry, Mayor, it kind of broke up there. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I want to bring up, you were talking about one section, it's numbered 254, a Measure R, money that's going to be used, money that will be used in 254.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, 254. You mentioned that money that will be allocated there for this project on Main Street, and it's money funds that are being taken from the quiet zone. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's Measure M. It's Fund 255. So yes, we're going to be using some funding from the Measure M revenue bonds. Back in 2018, we bonded our Measure M revenue. So we have about $7 million available for these projects through those bonds. So we will be using.
So you're using, am I reading this correct? You're using thousand? Is that what am I reading this right or wrong?
Which one is that?
On 254.
254. So, so we're not using two. Do you have a project?
No, what I'm saying, you're using money that's coming out of the quiet zone, where you said, am I correct for this one or not? Am I reading that wrong? The traffic signal at Olive and Main Avenue.
Oh, yes. So we are using some Measure R funds for that, but that is not coming from the Quiet Zone project. That
Okay.
is from, yeah.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the only question I have. Council members have any questions?
Mayor, I have a
Yes.
question.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Thank you. Sam, what
Yes.
about the improvements, the street improvements to Pacific Avenue? I'm sorry if you talked about it and I didn't catch that.
Yes, so those improvements are currently ongoing now. So we are about a third of the way through the project. We've done a lot of concrete work there already. We should be completing that project in about a month or two. But yeah, Pacific Avenue is going to be paved and improved and should be completed within, like I said, a month and a half.
Okay, can you give me the stretch of Pacific Avenue that we're talking about specifically?
Hold on real quick. Councilmember Monica Garcia. I'll ask everyone to please mute their mics because we're getting a lot of background feedback. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so specifically on Pacific Avenue, we're going from Downing at the rail crossing down to the West Covina city limit.
Okay, so from the tracks to the West Covina city limit.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then that should be completed in the next couple of months.
Correct.
Thank you, Sam. Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Mayor, this is Shannon. If I could ask Sam to give a quick update on the bike share program. I think we're partnering with the San Gabriel Valley COG.
Hey, Councilman Paul Hernandez will like that. All right.
Yes. So hi. We are working with the COG, trying to figure out the best way to move forward with this project. Everything is ready to go. We just need to schedule a kickoff. And due to the COVID situation, we haven't been able to touch base and get that going. But in terms of the logistics, all of that is ready to go. As soon as we get a chance to meet with the COG and discuss how the kickoff is going to go, we'll be bringing that information back to the City Council for some direction.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. This message is for Mr. Hofford. Can you please, share with us a little bit what the UPS battery replacement project is, and of course, the use of force disciplinary tracking software?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember. The UPS battery system is a battery backup unit for the dispatch center, and its whole purpose is in the event of our failure, while in the little gap between being on the grid versus the generator coming online, there will be a power loss. So this unit covers that power loss. The current unit was, I think, in the neighborhood of 15 years old, and we got our money's use worth out of it, but it does need replacing. We're currently renting one right now, but we'd like to buy one that's more fiscally responsible. As far as the software goes, this is software that a number of other police departments use. It's very popular. It has two components to it. One is called Blue Team, and Blue Team is software that all our supervisors will use to enter various different events into the program, any use of force, vehicle pursuits, things like that. IA Pro is the other half of the software suite. IA Pro is mostly for administrators, and what it does is it's an organization of all of our investigations, but it also keeps track of of every officer's activities. So, you know, if there's a significant event, that's easy to pay attention to. But, you know, what if we have an officer who has, you know, a small handful of number of minor complaints that maybe came in through different supervisors that maybe not everyone's quite aware of? This software will track that for us and can send us up a red flag that maybe this officer needs some training or some sort of intervention before a big event like that happens. So that's what the software is about.
Perfect. And just for clarification, this is something we don't have now, right?
Correct. We do not have this now.
I appreciate that. My next question is for Manny Carrillo and probably even Sam. For the improvements over at Morgan Park, considering that we're doing a lot of work there, is it possible to begin, and I don't know what the time frame is there, but is it possible to do some of that work as soon as possible instead of waiting, you know, sometime later in the year, just considering that we have a little bit of, unfortunately, you know, free time or free space right now in the gym and outside the park?
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez, yes, absolutely. That is staff's mission to complete before we open up back to the community.
Thank you. Appreciate it. No further questions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions by council members? See none at this point, we'll go ahead and move to the next subject.
That would be closed session, I believe.
All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and move out of this Zoom and go on to the closed session. So see you in a bit. Thank you.